Okay, so what I'm going to do is to show you how to take the two cylinders that we have here and connect those together. We're going to be using the creation of planes and then also using our planes that we already have set up under the origin folder. So you may need to click on the origin folder to see the Y, Z plane, and depending on how you oriented it, it may be on one of the other planes. So I set mine up with this being my front view, so therefore when I look at it from the right side, I'm using the YZ plane. So what I'm going to first do is start by laying out the two cylinders. They are spaced 5.5 inches apart, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a plane in the middle of the two cylinders and draw the elliptical shape in the middle. So the first thing I'm going to do is find my plane that is perpendicular to the surface in which I want to draw the ellipse. So I've got my XZ plane there. I'm going to create a plane, and for this one I'm really not going to have to move it. If you want to pick on it and drag the circle, I am going to just type in 0 there so I can create that plane that's right there on that quadrant. So the next thing I'm going to do is I want to create a sketch on that plane. So I'm going to create sketch and pick on the current work plane. Now when I flip that around, you can see that the top cylinder is now in the way of my plane, so I'm kind of having to draw through that, and then I also have this top piece right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the plane, the view plane, and I'm going to say slice graphics, because what's going to happen now is all of my parts are going to go away and I get right into this piece here and I can draw my ellipse shape. If you look in the book, you'll see that the elliptical shape needs to be 1/2 inch thick, and it's going to go out to the quadrant of this piece. So I need to be able to project my geometry for this, and I'm going to go ahead and look at it from the top view. So I know that is the length of my cylinder. I also am going to maintain the 1/2 inch thickness through there, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm just checking here the dimensions that they give us in the book. You'll look and see they want the elliptical shape to be 1/8 inch from the right hand side. So I've already lined up the two cylinders on the left side. They're spaced 2 3/4 apart. So I'm looking at from my right side, I need 1/8 inch space from this edge to the elliptical shape. So I projected the geometry of that line right there so I can measure that. So first thing I'm going to do is offset this line here 1/8 inch. And then I'm going to offset that another 1/2 inch because that is the thickness of my cylinder. So I've got the length of my cylinder and, not my cylinder, my ellipse, and then the width of it. So now I'm going to look at my ellipse shape. It looks like I need to be able to specify the center point of the ellipse and then the length of it. So I'm going to construct a line now from here to here. So that way when I pick on my ellipse, I'm going to pick the midpoint, and then I'm going to go, that is the extent of my ellipse, and then this is the width. So that ellipse now is 1/2 inch wide by the length of that. So I'm just going to erase these lines. I don't want those there on my drawing. Delete that. So I'm going to keep this as my sketch, because what I'm looking to do is I'm going to come over here. I'm going to show you. I've created, this is a drawing I had already done. So what I'm looking to do is create this elliptical shape here on this view plane, and I'm going to create a sketch up here on this one. I'll have an ellipse shape, and then what I'm going to do is loft those two sketches together so we can then create this piece right here. So that's where I'm going with this. So now I'm going to come up here on this one. Now I've got to find, so if you remember when I looked at my first, the YZ plane, it's down there. So now I'm going to create a new plane, and I want to click on new plane. Oops, plane. I'm going to pick on this and I'm going to drag it. Now I know that that cylinder is 5.5 inches spaced away, so I'm going to type in 5.5, and it's going to drop that plane right there on that top cylinder. The next thing I want to do is create a sketch on that plane. So I did create sketch, and then the next thing I'm going to do is right click on this and slice graphics. So now I'm back to the same scenario as what I had before. Project geometry. And what am I working here with dimensions? I'm going to do a little bit of math. So the one on the bottom was 1/8 of an inch. Difference, we have the other dimension that we have is, oh, okay, this piece is 1 inch wide, so the difference there is 1 inch. So it's 1/4 of an inch plus 1/8. So we're going to be locating this line over here. We're going to offset that 3/8 of an inch. Then do the 3/8 of an inch. I'm going to offset that. Ooh, it's picking that whole thing. That's I'll just draw a line. 3/8 of an inch. And then I'm going to offset that 0.5. Alright, so there's the second layout. So I'm going to go back here, draw a line to find the center of that ellipse. Here's my ellipse command. I'm going to locate that on the midpoint. Something doesn't look right. That's not right. That has to be one line. Alright, ellipse. Find the midpoint. That is the length of the ellipse. This is the width of it. And I'm going to erase those construction lines. I don't need to worry about I don't think I need to worry about those lines. The project geometry. I don't want this line in there though. So, finish sketch. So now have the elliptical shape on the top and the bottom. So now that I have the two elliptical shapes sketched, I haven't done anything else with them other than sketch it. I'm now going to look for my Loft command. If you look over, the first thing you're going to see is the sweep command. You are going to have to go up underneath sweep and go to Loft. What Loft is going to do, it's going to prompt you for sketches. So you're going to be selecting the two sketches that you have, and then it's going to combine those two sketches together. So the sketch that I want to select is the ellipse on the top, and then the ellipse on the bottom. So when I do that, now it's projecting those two sketches together. I'm going to hit OK, and now I just join those two pieces. So the other thing we need to do is, I'm going to look at this one. I'm going to first turn the visibility off on my view plane, so I don't have to look at that. But when we look at this from the right side, we do have that piece in there. So if we didn't put that hole in there already, this would be a good time to go back and cut that. I am going to go ahead and real quickly cut that because I don't like that in there. I don't want to forget about it. So project geometry, finish sketch, extrude, make sure you're cutting that surface, and then I'm going to click on to next. Okay, and I clean that one up. Alright, and then I'm going to do the next one, same thing, create a sketch. Just create a sketch there, project geometry. I could have picked the whole circle. Let's pick the whole circle so that way I don't have a little slither left. Finish sketch, extrude it, make sure you're cutting, pick the shape, click on to next, that way I don't have to specify a distance, and then that's cleaned up. So that's how I'm able to get that. So I'm hoping that you're thinking along the lines, well, okay, that was a lot, now I have to do the other side. But what I'd like for you to think about is how are you going to get this size duplicated without having to redraw that? And I'm hoping you're thinking about using the mirror command. So let's look at the mirror command. Alright, so we're going to mirror. We're going to use the mirror command. It should be under the 3D model ribbon. We're going to click on mirror. Oh, wait. Let's look at this. So when we use the mirror, we've got features and we have mirror planes. So we know that we're going to mirror all of these features. But the other thing we need to do is create a reference. So we need to create a mirror plane. So I'm going to cancel out of this. I'm going to go back and create a plane that's going to be halfway in between the two pieces. So here's an example. So I'm going to create a work plane that's going to be half the distance between the two surfaces. So go back to our planes. The distance that we have between the two surfaces is 2.75. So if we divide that by half, that's 1 3/8. So I'm going to use the plane. I'm going to pick on the plane and I'm going to drag that. Notice that it's in the negative direction, so I'm going to type in negative 1.375. I'm going to hit the check button and now I have a mirror plane. So I'm going to go back to the mirror command. The first thing I need to select is the features. I'm going to hold down my control button and I'm going to go through and click on all of the features over here on the left, and I think that gets everything. So my extrusions, and then the loft, and then where I cut the holes out. So I've got all of those. The next thing I'm going to select is my mirror plane, which is this part right here. It's going to project that over to the side, and I'm going to hit OK, and I've just mirrored that. So now I have two pieces, and it looks like I missed something. It looks like I forgot to cut that. Oops. So anyway, you can go back and cut that. I did forget that. It looks like that. I was looking at that sketch earlier, and I was like, why doesn't that sketch have an extrusion? But yeah, I should go back and hopefully you caught that on your own. Edit the sketch, finish sketch, and then I forgot to cut it. So let's go back and cut that surface. Now I need it to go even further, so let's go all the way across that part. There we go. So I cut that. So hopefully you caught that and yours is not like that. So I don't need that work plane. Let's see, do I need that work plane? Yes, I do. So the next thing I'm going to want to do on this sketch, on this work plane here, is create a sketch, and I'm going to locate little I-beam. I'm going to come in here, right click on this. I'll go back to Slice Graphics. Now I have that surface. I can project the geometry forward. And now I can go in here and locate that little I-beam that's going to connect the two together. When I do this one, I can draw it from this surface right here, and then I can project it over to the other sides. And I don't know why I have that error. Let's see what's going on. Oh, it's probably not letting me allow. So yeah, I cannot project the geometry off of that. So what I'm going to do is just create a sketch on this plane. I'm going to slice the graphics still because I want to get back to that surface. And I know that this is not, I'm not using the dimensions. I'm about ready to run out of time here. But what I'm going to want to do is to lay out the little eye shape, and I'm just gonna draw. I'll just draw a rectangle for time's sake. I'm limited to 15 minutes on this video, so I'll just draw that. And of course, I did not make that connect. There we go. Just to draw something fast. Extrude this, and I can go from side to side, so you can calculate the distance. And then say, you can calculate the distance, how far it needs to go over, or you can say to next, and you can do one side and do the other. So if I click on that one, rotate it around, You'll see that it just extrudes over there to that side. And then I can come back and create another sketch over here on this side real quickly. And I'm running out of seconds, but I could project that over. So I'll let you finish that up and hope that helps you out.